Okay, folks, it's been a long day. Actually, I'm also realizing that it is not easy after, in the COVID period, we actually are on Zoom, then we off the camera, we drink coffee, we are sitting in our shorts. Sini sejuk sangat. And then from morning till now, it's a bit tough. But I think we have had a very interesting session. And I'm just, Tan Sri Michael had different invited guests for the closing, but for some reason all of them turned down. So he last minute asked me to say a few words, but I think it's important. I think some of the people from the Alliance have a meeting afterwards, so you cannot chabut. You have to sit through this. But it's helpful for us to wrap it together. I'm not going to repeat all the points, but to highlight some key points. Now, I was told there are more than 100 participants who are here in the morning, firstly, and secondly, more than 30 people were online. That's quite a significant number of people. And I think in the COVID period, this might be one of the first occasions we can have a face-to-face meeting of this nature. We had 6 different intervention sessions, and there were 29 role players, including moderators and speakers and so forth. Now, what is interesting is we are doing this in the period of COVID. That means a lot of issues and suffering of the riot during COVID. That is one area. The second is it's in an area when democratic space is reduced to a large extent because of the parliament and so forth. We are in a state 6 months of emergency, but we really don't feel the emergency, but we accept the YBs who feel the emergency. They are restricted from Parliament Bangunan, but the state. In the session today, we have seen progress, we have seen challenges, and we have seen hopefulness that there can be changes. Now, I have 8 brief points. Don't worry, I'm not going to take a long time. But just to highlight so that we capture the points together. I might have missed some of the points because I was called out sometimes to the room, VIP room, to meet someone. Firstly, it is the development planning and the development process. The midterm review, the 11th plan, and so forth, and leading to the 12th plan. Development planning has taken SDGs into deep consideration because of what EPU and all presented. It's very clear. SDG is within the development planning framework. And that planning framework has included a balancing of economic, social, and environmental, taking policy impact as a key focus. So I think the development process is central and SDG is in it. Whichever government comes, it remains, whether it was BN, PH, or PN. SDG as a development agenda and the balancing theme is part of the government agenda. Secondly, we saw that there is a parliamentary oversight. Parliamentary oversight, because the speaker highlighted it, others have highlighted, that the SDG financing through public sources are monitored by Parliament through the budget and like the 12th Malaysia Plan allocations. So there is a parliamentary oversight, there is monitoring. I think Alizan used the term interfacing with politicians, like how the APPG is doing. But beyond that, it is in the parliamentary role of policies, programs, allocations, and resources. That's the second thing. Third thing we saw very clearly in the session just now, localizing SDGs. Whether you are a government party MP, or you are an opposition MP, or you were government, then became opposition, opposition became government, tak tahu bila tukar as government or as YB. Yeah? So within that scenario, we see that parliamentarians have a key role, and this was highlighted very clearly by YB Maria and YB William on the ground issues. There we were talking about bottom-up approach, decentralization, potential in the local area, local knowledge, local solutions, social cohesion and impact, and the bipartisan nature of localizing SDG. That's the third point. Fourth point, we all talked about it dari pagi sampai sekarang, is multi-stakeholder engagement and partnership. Collective effort, partnership, CSO, government, private sector, and so forth. Here, the private sector was saying they need to move beyond CSR and donations to meaningful participation. Just now, we heard of trust building, stakeholders coming together, and institutions like APPG, the Alliance, Global Compact are part of this process of formalizing this. Fifth is the whole area of climate change. The British High Commissioner talked about the climate change global conference that the British government is the host of the UN gathering, energy saving, climate action. We also heard from Mr. Stefan, this is the lowest impact in terms of change, and the problems associated with it is the fifth point. Six, it was very interesting to hear about capital, the way capital corporate culture need to change. This came from Yayasan Hazana's presentation, Shahira's, and others as well, seeing capital differently, long-term understanding of profits, building the cost of development, the cost of environment into the development, adapting ESG, taking sustainability not as a department in a business, but the whole business model, company policy and values. So the whole area of sustainability and business as a culture, as a model, was something that came up. Seventh is the whole theme of innovation. A lot of innovations were spoken of, but sudah sedikit orang tua sekarang, letih sedikit main. I heard a few concepts. I know others, like Prof. Rashila is looking at me. She might have spotted more. One was impact financing. I thought it was a very good concept. It should be developed, impact financing, by the financial institutions, the criteria used, the methodology, and the whole model of impact financing that could be used in that sense. Second is this infrastructure master plan. Although they are local plans, but infrastructure, water supply, power supply, telecommunication, who will pay for this rather than silo building approvals. The third, I missed much of the discussion, but when I walked in, I could get it. The green technology, renewable use of energy, a whole ecosystem. I think these things need to be popularized, that is done and its impact in that area. Now, finally, is on data and measurement, accurate data, analysis, transparency of data, role of researchers in issue mapping, local content, and implementation. So I think it's a session in which there was rich input, rich feedback. I'm sure Woon would be compiling the findings. Tan Sri's team will put it all together and they will make it available. But it has enhanced us to devote a whole day together to enlarge this vision. Of course, a lot of us who are part of this process are diehard supporters of this, but I think we can take it to the next level. The APPG secretariat with some of the YBs and the Alliance has done 5 reports on the voluntary national review. These reports I've already emailed to Alizan, who will send it to the consultants. We are looking at prioritizing the reports because working group, we thought some will write 10 pages lah. Okay, boleh lah. Okay, 20 pages lah. But we got reports that are 70 pages, 36 pages, NGOs writing as input to the kerajaan. So we decided on Friday to have a Zoom discussion to prioritize what is it that we want to highlight. And part of this discussion could also be part of that process. So rich discussion, and we have lots of work to be done in this multi-stakeholder process. We hope to engage with private sector more, as well as parliamentarians, researchers, CSO, and of course, government. With those words, thank you very much. I don't see Tan Sri Michael. I'm told there are coffee, tea, and bungkus that you can take. And thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity to summarize.